Xiaomi Smart Band 10. There are lots of similar devices with fitness tracker or smartwatch capabilities, but show me at least one which will have chess and other board games as sports activities. The 10th iteration is interesting in the fact that you can buy ceramic version worldwide. Of course, I do not have one right now, because the ceramic version it costs $10 more, but at the same time lots of people want to buy it. So that's why it's really hard to get. But in terms of function, these devices with ceramic version and usual one are pretty the same. The package of Xiaomi Smart Band 10 is pretty similar to the previous versions, which includes obviously the Smart Band itself, silicone strap, and a charging USB cable to proprietary pin connector. And that's pretty much it, except of course a lot of paperwork. But if we're talking about design, right now it's pretty important to notice that we have much bigger AMOLED display, which is greater than in previous versions, but what's important, the straps from previous versions like Smart Band 9 and Smart Band 8 will be compatible with this device, so if you have huge collection of these straps, that's good news for you. But also talking about prices, the pricing for this device is something around $50 for a regular aluminum version, and of course something around $60 to $65 for the ceramic version, but as told before, it will be pretty hard to get, since everyone will want the version since it is white, it is ceramic, and it looks really sleek. But going on with the screen not only got a little bit bigger, but also it right now has similar frames on each side of the band, which looks great. It looks simply amazing. So for example, if you will look right now on the screen, you can see that the bezel is similar on all of the sides. And by the way, that's cyberpunk version of the screensaver of the watch, and it looks really sleek. But another important thing is that in this version right now, you have not only 60 frames per second display, but it also goes to 5 FPS or frames per second when it is idle with always on display turned on. And that means only one thing, the battery life got a little bit better just because of the screen. Talking about dimensions and weight, this band is crazy light with the silicone strap, but of course you can put here metal one as well. I don't see the real necessity here, because the selling point for lots of people who buy smart bands is the fact that this band is crazy light and you do not notice it on the hand. But of course at the same time you can buy whatever you'd like, because the straps are the same and there is lots of straps available right now on the market. But what's important for me as well, besides all of what I've told before, and that's vibration. Right now you can have 3 modes available for the vibration. That would be strong, normal, and a little bit light. I prefer normal, is more than enough for me, because the linear motor is much better than in the old versions like 5 or 6, where you just feel the treble on your hand and like hello tremor and so on. But right now the vibration is really great. Of course it's a little bit further from Apple Watch, but it's getting closer with each iteration of the Smart Band. And of course, talking about Smart Band, you cannot leave aside the features of sports tracking. Right now you have compass on this watch. And besides the fact that it's compass, it is being used for swimming to more precisely track your swimming activity in the pool. And of course, needless to say that there is a lot of different type of sports activities you can track, and I showed before, even chess, checkers, and esports. So right now, when you will be playing another battle in Valorant, you can count it as sports activity. But of course, this band not only measures your activity in terms of sports, but also heart rate, SpO2, and sleep tracking. And surprisingly for me, sleep tracking on this device is phenomenal. Something similar I have only seen in Apple Watch, which can track really when you take a nap. You do not need to turn anything on when you decide to catch a quick nap just in the middle of the day. It tracks it, and it tracks it really great. The same as with the waking up during the night, you can really see and you can really trust the sleep tracking of this device, and in this term it is phenomenal because it weighs so little that you do not feel it on the hand during the sleep, and this makes this device simply great just for sleep tracking. But talking about battery life, of course, battery life can be up to 21 to 30 days if you would like to turn everything off, but the main idea of this band is to be with pretty good battery life but also to track everything. So if you will put heart rate tracking, not continuous but every 1 minute, and the SpO2 tracking all of the time, and sleep tracking with enhanced sleep tracking, which I highly recommend you to turn on just for the fact that it can track really good your sleep. In that case, with always on display lots of notifications from sports activities throughout the day, in that case you will get up to 1 week of battery life. In my case, it rates more like 5 to 6 days, but I can tell you for sure that it will take around 15% per day if you will be really heavy user and you will turn on auto workout detection. It will turn on a lot of notifications and so on. 5 days is guaranteed, at least for me. But of course, we need to talk about Bluetooth. Bluetooth connection of this device is really great. To be honest, I cannot believe that this device packs lots of features and it has great connection with my phone. Even when I am somewhere around the apartment and I'm walking and my phone isn't with me, I know that's horrible, but even then the smart band doesn't lose the connection. But everything isn't so perfect. The only one is I have found, besides the fact that you cannot buy ceramic version right now because it is sold out like everywhere, besides that synchronization with Google Fit and Health Connect on Android devices. It's hard for me to say how good it is synchronizing with Apple Health, but if we're talking about Google Health and Google Fit and Health Connect in general for Android devices, Mi Fitness, the official application for this band, officially has integration with Google Fit and Health Connect. But when you will connect it, it will synchronize only a couple of things, and at the same time you will not see anything you'd like in Google Fit. It may seem like not a problem, but if you have another device which tracks your activity, like for example I have Nest Hub which tracks my sleep as well. I know it's a little bit dumb, but sometimes when I'm charging my smart band during the night and the charging to full takes around hour and a half, in that case sleep tracking is being used from my Nest Hub. And to be honest, I prefer the design of Google Fit much better than Mi Fitness. But set that aside, the synchronization doesn't work as well as they think. That's why I went on the web to look for the solution, and the solution is in the third-party application. This third-party application is being called Notify for Xiaomi. It has two versions for older Mi Bands and for newer Mi Bands like 8, 9 and 10s, and unfortunately it has some paid features, but that's not subscription, it's just one-time purchase, and if you want to get all of the functionality of this band, in that case I highly recommend you buy this application and the features inside this application, because the application itself is free of charge, and in that case you will get simply great fitness tracking which will synchronize to your Google Fit however you'd like. Of course, it will ask you to install the Simple Health application, which essentially will synchronize with Google Fit. So the Notify for Xiaomi is being used as Mi Fitness, and it will ask you to delete Mi Fitness in order not to double the results and in order not to fight for data. So Notify for Xiaomi will get data from your Mi Band, it will send it to Simple Health, which will synchronize it with Health Connect and with Google Fitness. And it synchronizes really great. It synchronizes everything you can ever want, and the customization in Notify for Xiaomi is great. The downside of this application is the design. It doesn't look like Material You or something like that. It more looks like some wipe coding application because the design is really very basic. But if you want to get the features, you need to download and use this application. And this is the only downside of the Mi Band or the Xiaomi Smart Band, however you like call it, as I have found. All in all, this band is simply great. For example, if you do not like the fact that Whoop band, which essentially gets the same data from your arm, and you wouldn't like to pay for that $300 or $400, in that case, Xiaomi Smart Band 10 is simply for you. You can turn off always on display, you can use it essentially as the same Whoop and it will get the data really precisely. It has water resistance up to 5 atmospheres, so you can easily use it in the pool, and it tracks literally everything. And using third-party applications, it synchronizes to the same Google Fit, and of course it has integration with Apple Health, but as I said before, it's hard for me to say how well the Smart Band will integrate with Apple Health. As far as I remember, it synchronizes pretty good, but on Android it is how it is. So I can only tell that comparing to Whoop and the price of Whoop, this device you will not be afraid to break, you will not be afraid to do anything with it. Just with the simple silicone strap turned off always on display, you can use it as essentially the same Whoop with similar battery life, similar functions. And in my opinion, it's simply great. And of course, if you wouldn't like to show it off, it is black, it is pretty stealthy, you can use it on the second arm, you can turn all of the notifications in order not to buzz on your arm and use it as a health tracker. And in that case, I really find this device to be a pretty good option, and I will highly recommend you to get one, whatever color, whatever ceramic, aluminum. If you will get it, you will really enjoy it. Because the colors are great, it will be black, silver and pink, and of course ceramic version which is white and is pretty good. Like, I will get you a pair of photos and videos right now, and as you see, it looks simply amazing. But in any case, I can only recommend this device. This device is great, this device works perfectly, and it tracks and does everything I like. Because from my smartwatch, what I want is notifications, what I of course want is health tracking, fitness tracking. The only thing that lacks this device is Google Wallet integration and NFC Pays. Of course, NFC version exists on Chinese market, but even if you will get NFC version from Chinese market, in that case you won't be able to use it with Google Wallet or, God forbid, Apple Pay. So it is pretty useless feature like NFC for NFC sake. Function of this watch, which is new for Smart Band 10, it is integration with some of the fitness devices. So for example, it will synchronize your heart rate with your treadmill, and when you will be running, it will get also due to low energy Bluetooth technology. But in any case, if you won't have such a treadmill, it will still track your distance, your heart rate, your SpO2, your VO2 max, and it will track it really great. All in all, great device, can only highly recommend, and thank you for watching. I will see you here next time.